Hey, hey, how's things, buddy? I'm new to this whole vlogging thing, so I'm sorry if this video is slightly haphazard and misshapen. I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do. So I've written a list of all the things I want to talk about, and I guess I'll just go through the list, and then at the end of it I'll click stop, and that'll be the vlog, I guess, and then I'll send it to you via YouTube, and it'll be good. I'm also experimenting with a lot of the different things and parts of iMovie while I'm doing this. So
If there are little things that kind of pop across the screen, or
it suddenly goes grainy, or if I suddenly look far more tanned than I was previously. These aren't strange happenings which occur in New Zealand. These are just technological marvels. So I thought you'd like to know that. Anyway, to business. What do we got first? We've got Neato. Neato sounds neat. It sounds very cool. Quite odd. But cool. I didn't know Sarah was talking a lot about how you were trying to get it into China, and that sounded really cool. But I didn't know all of the interesting side benefits that it could have, such as working for autism and things like that. And that sounds really, really interesting. And I'd like to talk with you about that more if you are interested in talking about it more. Economics of obesity. I've already looked a little bit into the economics of obesity, actually, and different ways that you could tax people, like at an airport, or taxes for food with high saturated fat content. The Labour government in New Zealand was actually proposing not a fat tax as such, but a tax exemption on healthier foods, which sounded like a really cool idea until you looked into the maths behind it, and it just wasn't gonna make sense at all. But it was cool in practice. Neuroscience sounds really interesting as well. I don't know much about it, but if I could read some more about it, I'm sure I would be interested. Shiv is a neuroscientist, and he's really, really into it. He wants to do postgraduate study in depression, and I think that's really, really cool. Okay, so all of this editing malarkey is taking too long, so I'm just gonna read what I have on the sheet, and the first one isn't going to be as good as maybe the next few will be, but then I think the next few will also be shorter, so it may take less time to edit all of these little ums and ahs and pauses out of what I'm trying to say, which you won't have actually seen yet because I've been so good at editing them. But they're there. They're definitely there. Okay, so next item of business. General life catch-up. So, travel. So immediately after you left, I had my last exam, and it didn't go very well. I got really, really ill and threw up in the bathrooms after attempting to take the exam and had to not take the exam. So that wasn't great. But after that, I went to France. I went to the south of France to Perpignan and Sirey, and that was absolutely incredible. We need to have a proper talk about that because there is more than I can possibly say in a vlog video. Then I came back for a week to say goodbye to everyone, and that was really sad, but it was I had a lovely going away thing and spent time with those people who I was close to who were still there, which was really nice. Before I went to Australia, I went to Melbourne and Sydney. Melbourne is super cool. Melbourne is the Wellington of Australia, and you haven't been to Wellington yet, but once you do, once you come and visit, you'll know what I mean, and you'll know why it's so cool. This is Wellington, by the way. Say hello to... Ah, my knee. Ah, say hello to my house, or the back wall of my house. Maybe I'll show you next vlog video, but it's in Wellington. There's a pigeon. Oh, wrong way. There's a pigeon. Okay, next thing. Oh, yes. Then I came back to Wellington very briefly to see my family before I went up to Auckland, and I've already had half a semester here for my next semester of study, and this is currently a break, and I'm back down in Wellington for a break. Job hunting. So I've applied to a whole bunch of different engineering companies, one of which is Becker, another one is Norman, Disney and Young, which hopefully I'll be able to get a summer internship for, both to fulfill my engineering hours and just because I'd like to get some practical hands-on experience and not just sit in a lecture room all day doing maths. So hopefully that works out. If it doesn't work out, I've got some summer research scholarships in the works. They're looking positive, but you can never be sure with these things. One of them is in the biomimetics of adhesion. So it's kind of like, basically it's gecko feet. What's up with that? is kind of the idea, which sounds really cool. I don't know what's up with that though, so we're gonna. I don't know how that's gonna play out. The other one, which is actually, I think, if slightly more technical, would be more down the alleyway of what I would perhaps want to do in the future, is working on an interface between 3D printing and an amateur consumer of 3D products. So it's the technical term is called location independent service centric additive manufacturing. So basically that means creating software that any person can use in order to print using their 3D printer, which I think would be really cool. University of Auckland's really cutting edge in 3D printing and 3D CAD design. Part of my interest in that is I've been looking a lot into CNC machining and how you can build houses out of just plywood, and there's a thing called a CNC machine, link in the doobly-doo. But basically it would allow, either in humanitarian crises, such as the Christchurch earthquake actually, which is where it's being prototyped at the moment, or somewhere like the Haitian disaster, the Sri Lankan tsunami disaster, places like that, where you've got large-scale desolation and you need a quick and effective way of manufacturing dwellings in a way that you can react to the specific situation in front of you. I think it would be a really effective tool. Secondly, in a continuing development role, you could also use them to empower those living in slums or in areas where you need an accommodation solution which is fit to the problem. But the long-term vision would be something along the lines of these people would come into an office, be able to design, with the help of someone else, design their own home, and then within 2 to 3 hours be able to leave that office with the equipment and the tools required so that they could build their own home and be self-sufficient in that way and have the creative input for their own life, and which I think would be really cool. Anyway, I'm rambling and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm going to whip through the next points and we can either elaborate on them in the next discussion, or we can just leave it there, and I'm sure we've both got interesting lives, so maybe just this level of interestingness can just kind of be jettisoned in lieu of future interestingness, which we can discuss. There's an election coming up in New Zealand. I'm not sure if you've heard. I've been doing some, not a lot, of volunteering and things for the Green Party, which are cool, I think. I'm really super into tiny house design and minimalist living. Again, I'll put a link down the bottom. CNC machining and the empowerment of people through contextualized solutions for contextualized problems. That was what we were talking about before. I messaged you, or at least I messaged Sarah to message you about some of the stuff that I was reading immediately after coming back from Australia while I was here in Wellington. Just like the combination of ideas that were brought upon by reading The Plague by Camus on the road. Love it. Absolutely love it. And a lot of stuff about Buddhism and kind of the ways that those intersect together are really interesting. I'd like to have a chat with you about that. My courses. So I'm doing dynamics, thermodynamics, manufacturing and design, and management and communication solutions for engineers. Those are my 4 engineering papers. They're all cool in different ways. I've got projects for each of the 4 of them, which vary, obviously, by what course they are. My arts course, you'd really, really like it. It's called Power, Emancipation and Critique. It's all about 20th century Frankfurt School theorists, so German philosophers of social critical theory who are working before, during, and after the Second World War, and their responses to society throughout that period. Super duper interesting. It's kind of like a mix of like humanistic Marxism meets a pessimism to the world. It's very anti-enlightenment, anti-positivism. It thinks that the basis of rationality inherently leads to totalitarianism and fascism. But then we've moved on to the second theorist, Habermas, who thinks that you can build rationality outside of this positivistic sense through a theory of communicative action. Don't actually know what that is yet. I'll let you know in like 3 weeks. Finally, just thinking in terms of the structure of how we're going to communicate. Do we want to talk via Skype? Do we want to set up a time slot where both of us, a regimented time slot on a Sunday or a weekend or sometime when both of us can talk to each other, which I think the back and forth would be cool. The cool thing about a vlog is it's accessible to others. So if we want that as part of the experience, if we want other people to be able to interact with us, which I think would be really cool, but it means we can't interact quite as well with each other. So we should think about that at least when we're going forward with these. I'd also just like to have a general chat, just to Skype anyway, even what you think. It'd be cool. And yeah, link in the doobly-doos a thing. You said all these things, and I don't know where to go to get them because you said them and they were interesting, but I don't know where to go. So be like John and Hank and just doobly do that shit because I'm gonna be doing it and all the cool kids are doing it and it's gonna be good. But yeah, that's my video. It's too long and it's very late and I'm gonna I'm going to go to bed now. But this is the start of something very cool and I'm very excited and interested and keen to keep it going. Grow it into something. I don't know. Do you want a vlog? Do we want to blog with a vlog? Do we want to commute? Let's Skype and we can talk about it. Lovely to hear from you. Don't worry at all about being busy because I was busy as well. I am busy now, but I'd like to make time for you because I think you're kind of cool. Anyway, can't wait till your next post or until we Skype. Should be cool. All right. See you, dude.